my name is Bernabra, aka Hunter from Filmzar, and I'm here to bring you the Colts draft preview. Let's get started. Okay, so before we get into the actual draft for the Colts, let's take a preview at their roster and look at their needs. I mean, obviously for the Colts, they are lacking at the quarterback position. No offense to Gardner Minshew, but I mean, we've seen him have opportunities to start in this league, and they haven't gone well. Jacksonville, he had a pretty decent stretch, but nothing more. Nick Foles, I mean, he's at the time of his career where he's just going to be a backup. You don't really want anything else from him. I mean, he's a good mentor for a young quarterback, but Gardner Minshew is not that young quarterback you want to bring in. Sam Ehlinger, I mean, we're just looking at a career backup here in Sam Ehlinger. For running back, I mean, the Colts obviously have one of the better ones in the league in Jonathan Taylor. Last year was a down year due to injuries, but the old line also kind of took a step back, including Quentin Nelson. Wide receiver position, Michael Pittman is that guy. He's been that guy for a long time. Alex Pierce, I mean, he's a very good number 2 on the scene that we saw. Isaiah McKenzie, he can be a good wide receiver 3, but I don't know if that's where the Colts want to go for wide receiver 3 because that's a little iffy. Tight end, Kyle Granson, I can't believe they have him listed as the starter. I think Jelani Woods is going to get more reps this year and is really going to burst out at the scene. I mean, Mo Alley-Cox still hasn't taken that step that we've been wishing for him to take for, 3 or 4 years now? I mean, it's probably close to being time to move on from Mo Alley-Cox as well. The O-line, I mean, you obviously have your vets like Ryan Kelly and Quentin Nelson, but then you have a 7th-round pick from Penn State in 2021 and Will Fries that you could be looking to replace. Bernhard Raymond, I mean, you could also be looking to replace as well. I mean, he's only in his 2nd year, but, I mean, there's not a whole lot there that we saw. On the defensive side, this gets a little bit stronger for him. I mean, the edge group of Kwity Paye, Tyquan Lewis, and Samson Ebukam, that's a pretty good 3, but they definitely need more depth at that position. I like Rashad Berry. I just don't know if he's going to become anything for them. Obviously, the interior with DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart is still that 1-2 punch, and it's still going to be. Maybe you want to see them add a little bit more depth in this draft, but I mean, for starter positions-wise, these are going to be your starters going into the year. Linebacker, I think, is actually kind of underrated for the Colts. Obviously, there's Shaq Leonard there. When healthy, is the probably top 3 linebacker in the league. EJ Speed had a really good year last year, and I think a lot of people were wanting to move on from him that I saw, but I think it's way worth giving him another year at that starting position. As linebacker, JoJo Domain, I think, should get more reps this year. Struggled a bit, but I mean, it's also a rookie struggle, so I mean, I can't really put anything against him. Cornerback position, I mean, it's weak. They traded Gilmore for a 5th for Dallas, and that pushes Isaiah Rodgers Sr. to the starting quarterback spot. I mean, Kenny Moore took a step back last year, and all honesty, he was starting to take a step back in 2021 towards the end of the year. I mean, they need quarterback help. And then, I mean, when it comes to safety, Julian Blackmon, when healthy, is one of the better safeties in the league. It just becomes, when is he healthy? Rodney Thomas, I mean, we can look at him here. I had 7th-round pick last year out of Yale. I mean, do you want to play him? I don't know. He flashed a little bit last year, but I don't know if you want to have him be your starting free safety. And obviously, kicker, they went out and signed Matt Gay this offseason. The contract is questionable. But, I mean, they've struggled with kicker since Vinatieri, so I don't necessarily blame them. So now we're going to be shifting over to a Colts mock draft to finish off the rest of this video. But first, we start off with talking about Lamar Jackson. So with the Colts, they have the 4th overall pick, and you have the Panthers and Texans at 1 and 2, both quarterback-needy teams. That's most likely where Stroud and Bryce Young are going to land. So it's going to be hard for them to grab one of those top 2 quarterbacks unless maybe they trade up with the Panthers, but that doesn't really make much sense considering they just traded all the way up to number 1. I mean, with the Colts and Lamar, there is interest there. So by getting Lamar, the Colts are going to have to give up their 1st-round pick this year and next year. And for a team as close as they are to being able to win their division, I believe that that's something they should look into because I think it'd be best for them going forward in the future than going with a young quarterback like Anthony Richardson, who is a 1 or 2 year project and is not ready for the current NFL. So we're going to get started here today. First, we're going to start with the mock draft. And we pick here at number 4. Bryce Young did go to the Panthers at 1, and then Walt Anderson and Tyree Wilson both went. So, I mean, at this point, it's just obvious it's just going to be C.J. Stroud. You get your quarterback of the future here at number 4. You got a guy with an elite arm, elite accuracy, and a guy that, I mean, is going to be able to lead this franchise for many more years moving forward. Now we're going to get here into round 2 of this mock draft. Let's see what we got going. We pick here at 35. We have guys like Lucas Van Ness and Keon White still on the board, edge rushers that we need. But DeJuan Jones here, I mean, tackle is a position that we need for the Colts. Both tackles are both questionable. Raymond showed flashes in 2022, but for a rookie, I mean, I don't really believe that he's going to be anything more than that. So, I mean, at this position, it's really just down to DeJuan Jones and John Michael Smith, and I think tackle's more needed here for the Colts. So I'm going to take DeJuan Jones from Ohio State. I mean, you get Stroud, you get DeJuan Jones, 2 Ohio State guys. I mean, you're feeling really good as a Colts fan so far if this is your current draft. So now, I mean, you pick here in the round 3. You could go Joe Tippmann, but with Ryan Kelly, I don't think you really need the corner. I think edge rusher is more of a bigger need here for him. Darnell Washington is very, very intriguing here in the 3rd round. But with Jelani Woods and I guess Morley Cox, there's not really a need for him. So at this position, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to draft B.J. Ojulari. I mean, good edge rusher. Brother Azeez Ojulari, the edge rusher / linebacker from the Giants, who was picked in the 2021 draft. That family is stacked when it comes to talent. I mean, for the rest of the draft, I mean, the Colts really do need to add a wide receiver still. I'm not comfortable with Isaiah McKenzie as wide receiver 3 going into this year, and I don't think the Colts should be either. However, once again, there's not really a good wide receiver at the board at this position. I mean, let's see. Raheem Jarrett, too high. I would argue Kayshon Boutte right here, but I mean, if he's going to be available in by our next pick, I think that's probably where we should go. At this position, you probably just end up going Chris Smith. I mean, good overall safety from Georgia. You need a safety to go next to Julian Blackmon. I mean, getting him, that's a nice 1-2 combo. I don't know if Chris Smith starts year 1. He should, but I don't know if the Colts would be willing to start him year 1. But, I mean, you get him in the 4th round, you're ecstatic on to start off day 3. And then, I mean, you pick here again. You pick here at 138. I mean, once again, not a whole lot on the board that you like. Maybe take a shot on Michael Wilson from Stanford. He showed a lot of good traits in college. Was a little underrated as well. Just not really talked about as much as some of these other guys are. This wide receiver class, it's not so necessarily top heavy, but it is. It's deep, but there's an obvious drop off. And I think that's what we're getting into here. So, I mean, you get in here, 2nd pick on day 3. You could go running back. I don't think you're that comfortable with Zach Moss. I mean, you got your tackle. I mean, if you can get a guard like Emil Ekiyor to go on the other side of Quentin Nelson, you're ecstatic here. I mean, this has just been a hell of a draft so far. I mean, to get probably 2 plug-in day 1 starters on that line, I mean, what is there not to like for the Colts here? Their next pick, I don't know. Xavier Hutchinson is intriguing here. They need wide receiver. I don't feel comfortable taking Trey Palmer. I just don't know if he really fits their system in Indy. Bryce Ford, also another guy I just don't think fits that system. I mean, Dwayne McBride or Deuce Vaughn, it would be a great pick here as well. Zach Nuts from Old Dominion is also a great pick. But I think we're going to end up going Deuce Vaughn for the Colts here. I mean, this is a speedster running back out of Kansas State. Very small size. But to go with Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss, probably beats out Zach Moss. I'd be surprised if he didn't. Zach Moss is probably a better receiving back. But, I mean, that's a pretty good 1, 2, 3 for the Colts to have. And for the last pick here in the 5th round, still need to address linebacker. I don't think Nick Hampton's going to be that guy. Ivan Pace Jr. from Cincinnati would definitely be a guy I'd look at. However, let's see what else is on the board. Yasir Abdullah from Louisville would also be a great pick. I just think round 5 is a little too high for me. Even though it's a day 3 pick, it really does not matter. I mean, we still need corner. Corner's bad need. I mean, with just Kenny Moore, Garrett Williams is probably the pick here out of Syracuse. You get a guy that might be corner 2 or corner 3 day 1, really, for the Colts. That's how bad it is after they traded Gilmore to Dallas for a 5th round pick. So in the 6th, we do not have a pick because we have 2 7ths after this. So I don't really know if there's any wide receivers left on the board that I like. I mean, maybe Ronnie Bell's there in that 7th. I mean, you're wishing for a lot, though. But, I mean, if he's there in the 7th round, that's a pick for the Colts that probably easy as it comes. for a late day 3 pick. So here you are. Ronnie Bell, unfortunately, did come off the board. However, Trey Tucker here in the 7th, I think is actually elite value, and I see him going as probably a earlier day 3 guy than round 7, really. So I do like the pick of Trey Tucker here in the 7th. And we have one more pick left in this draft to end it off. This is kind of just a fill in the dot. I mean, where do you really want to go? We've addressed running back. We've addressed wide receiver. Is there a tight end on the board we like? You know, Noah Gendorf, I mean, another project tight end. Kind of worth the shot, though. Seeing what's on the board right now, I don't like a lot. Cam Jones is intriguing. I'd rather not go another corner here because, I mean, if these corners are there as UDFAs, I mean, a guy like Starling Thomas would be a great signing for the Colts. Interior D-line, nothing's really looking at me there. I think this pick is going to be Noah Gendorf from North Dakota State. I mean, you address the tight end position as well. So you address all 3 important positions on that offense. You get a weapon at each position. Noah Gendorf's probably going to be maybe tight end 3 or 4 day 1. He's going to be behind Molly Cox. He's going to be behind Jelani Woods. He's going to be behind Granson. But, I mean, that's not saying he can't make the roster or have anything going for him in the future. I mean, really, you get C.J. Stroud, DeJuan Jones, and Emil Eckler. I mean, if you're a Colts fan, you got to feel ecstatic about this. I mean, what's not to like?